What's up? This is BoxingWave back with another video. To me, this fight here is the most anticipated fight for 2014. My personal favorite fight of the year so far. Okay, I've been wanting to watch this fight for a long time now. I think these two guys are the best junior middleweights out there. Okay, and it's finally happening. I'm glad this fight is taking place. I've made so many videos talking about Lara and Canelo. I've spent a lot of energy talking about these two. Okay, now that they're fighting, I want you to know that if you haven't watched my channel, if you've never seen one of my videos before, what I try to do is give you an analysis on a fight, but I try to be as unbiased as I possibly can. I have picked against fighters that I wanted to win often on this channel. Okay, some of my favorite fighters, you know, we got Miguel Cotto, Sergio Martinez coming up. Miguel Cotto is my #1, my favorite fighter. All right, right now, my current favorite fighter. He has been for some time now, and I don't think he's gonna win against Sergio Martinez. Okay, there's countless times where I picked against the fighters that I want to win. It is what it is because I have to be fair while doing these videos. Okay, now with that being said, a lot of people that watch these videos and watch these fights, they usually have somebody that they want to win and they pick against the other guy. This is the best example of that. If you like Canelo, most of the time you do not like Lara. If you like Lara, you do not like Canelo. These guys been going back and forth about the fight for a long time now. I'm not going to go into whole detail about it, okay? This is a big fight, and whoever wins this fight earns the crown as the best 154 fighter. And not only that, but in my personal top 10, whoever wins this fight belong in the top 10 pound for pound, without a doubt. Okay, in my personal top 10 pound for pound. So let me get started. Okay, let me start off by saying again, the Alfredo Angulo fights, you cannot base the outcome of this fight, whatever you think is the outcome of this fight, you cannot base it off their performances against Angulo. There's really not too much to learn from those fights, except Lara's weaknesses. Fighting people with that style. Canelo has no similarities with Angulo. Okay, so all you guys that think because Angulo looked so good against Lara, which he also still lost, okay, he had to take a lot of punishment to be able to knock Lara down twice. He took a lot of punishment, and this is why he ended up quitting, because of the big lump over his eye. Okay, Angulo looked horrible against Canelo because a lot of us, you know, thought Angulo might pull off the upset here, but Canelo, you know, he had that power, the combinations, and Angulo, he was just a stronger fighter that night, and Angulo just could not take the punishment from Canelo. I mean, he did, you know, he was surviving, but it played an effect on his offense, all right? He wasn't as confident in the ring like he was against Lara. He chased Lara down. He knocked him down a couple times. He did not respect Lara's power in that fight, okay? So I want you guys that's watching this video and that thinks Canelo is going to win, you cannot base it off the Angulo fight because he fights totally different. Okay, what you can do is look on past fights. Look at the Trout fight. Study those two fights, okay? Lara did look better against Trout. That's not the reason why I'm telling you to watch it. I'm telling you to watch it because Trout is a technician. He's a southpaw, okay? He's a boxer, okay? So if you want to compare anyone, look at the Trout fight, okay? Look at the Paul Williams fight with Lara. Look at Canelo's fight with Floyd Mayweather. You know, you got to look at the fight with Floyd Mayweather too, because you got to see how Canelo does against a defensive fighter like that. So go and look at all those fights. So breaking the fight down, this is what I think Canelo has to do to win this fight. Okay, Canelo is an orthodox fighter. He has a lot of power. We've seen in the Trout fight that he has very good head movement when he, you know, at least earlier in the fight, the first half of the fight, very good head movement. We already know he has power, but he was able to slip a lot of punches from Trout easily. okay, easily. I think when he started getting a little tired towards the second half of the fight, he slowed down a bit. But early in the fight, it took a lot for Trout to land, all right? Trout threw at a higher volume, but it took a lot, you know. Canelo was easily slipping them jabs. He was doing a great job in there, all right? What Canelo needs to do, all right? Canelo doesn't have the reach that Lara has, okay? And he's fighting against a mover, a big-time mover, okay? An excellent mover, all right? Trout is a good boxer, but Trout stood in front of Canelo the entire time. He's going to be fighting against a guy that moves a lot, okay? He doesn't stay in one place. Doesn't throw much combinations here. Lara might throw 2, maybe 3 punch combinations from time to time, if that, okay? So he's fighting a guy that's very, very slippery, a much more advanced southpaw fighter, all right? Much more advanced here. My best bet for Canelo, okay? Use that jab, all right? Counter Lara with it. Lara will be throwing the jab. He's a southpaw. Counter him, punch over him, try to land that jab. He has to use that. He has to stay busy. Canelo's one of his biggest advantages is that I believe that Canelo has the judges. Canelo is the pay-per-view draw, the future Golden Boy pay-per-view draw. Okay, he has to be busy. He cannot punch at a low volume, a very low volume. He's fighting a guy that doesn't throw a lot of punches, so he shouldn't be getting tired like he usually does. He's fighting a low volume puncher, okay? He has to keep using that jab. He has to slip Lara's jab when he throws it out there. Try to land that big straight right that he knocked Trout down with. It's going to be hard because Lara is so rangy, you know. It's so hard to hit because he has a wide stance, he has very long arms, and he has to do very little just to stay out of the distance, keep the distance from Canelo and avoiding his punches. He has to do very little. He can move his head back an inch and Canelo won't reach him, okay? So he has to try to counter, use that straight right, lean in, use a lead right, you know, counter him with it. It will leave himself open for that left hand that Lara has, but he has to do it, okay? Without lunging in or whatever, he has to do it. He has to be very, very careful. One thing that I've noticed, Lara does not like to get hit. We saw that, and if you learned anything from the Angulo fight, learn that Lara does not like to get hit. He went down twice, okay? I forgot what the second knockdown was, but I know the first knockdown was from a left hook when Angulo was on the inside. That left hook is so important to Canelo. Canelo stalks, okay? He doesn't pressure and take a lot of, you know, he doesn't take a lot of damage, you know. He doesn't want to get hit. So he's going to stalk Lara, but he's not going to pressure him like aggressively. It's not going to work out that way. All right, he's going to stalk him. If he happens to get inside, it's going to be hard to get inside. But if he happens to get inside, the first thing Lara is going to do is move, circle around him, and run back to the other side of the ring. Lara is a big-time mover. Try to throw and land that left hook, okay? Canelo is a great combination puncher. He throws great combinations. He's not going to have the time to throw and land combinations because Lara is going to be in and out. He's going to be on the move so quick. Try to land that left hook. If you try to land a right hook, you're going to have a lower chance of landing that right hook because Lara usually moves to the left and he keeps his glove up when he's moving to the left, okay, to avoid you know, any hooks or anything coming from the right. All right, so try to land that left hook to the temple if you're on the inside. I think Canelo is very, very capable of dropping Lara. He has more than enough power. He has more power than Angulo, and he lands his shots a lot more clean and crisp than Angulo does, okay? That's what I think Canelo has to do. He has to stay busy with that jab, okay? Now, Lara. Stylistically, I think Lara has the advantages here. The reach advantage, let me start off by saying that, okay? Both of these guys are not high volume punchers, okay? Both of these guys are technicians. They're very you know, they take their time. They are very patient. Let me say that. They're very patient boxers. Lara is going to have all the time in the world to figure out what he wants to do. When Lara has time, what he usually do is throw the jab. Throw the jab, you know. Sometimes it's just a lazy jab, but he'll throw the jab, keep the distance, just to set up that left, straight left. It's like a sniper. It's like he's very efficient with that left hand. He's not like Trout, okay? Trout throws a lot more jabs, okay? Lara, excuse me, Lara throws the jab, but he uses feints at the same time. He uses more feints than actually throwing the jab. So, you know, he's going to feint, you know, throw it out there, and then he's going to be on the move. Sometimes he'll throw the jab, he'll circle around, reset himself. He does it all fight long. He throws the jab, reset himself. Might throw one or two, reset himself. Might throw a left after that, reset himself. He'll throw a jab to the body, you know, and moves around. He is a very patient. He likes to be efficient. He likes to land every time he throws a punch, okay? Except when he's throwing a lazy jab to set up the left hand. Lara needs to stick to that. He has the range advantage. He has the reach advantage. You know what I'm saying? He's got to be efficient with that left hand, okay? Left hand to the body, left hand to the face. You throw an uppercut. Here and there he throws short punches, but most of the time he's using his range. Another thing Lara has to do, stay far away. Keep the distance from Canelo. Don't fight on the inside, okay? Lara is a decent inside fighter. If you guys watch his older fights, you wouldn't see that he's fought guys on the inside before. He's just, as soon as he started fighting a better, you know, more advanced fighters, when he started fighting the Paul Williams, the Carmelinas, all those guys, he stopped fighting on the inside. You know, he tries to use his movement, and, you know, he pivots himself and he, like, swiftly gets out of there, all right? He doesn't fight on the inside anymore. He needs to do that for this fight. He has to, because if Canelo lands a body shot, you know, or anything, he will definitely hurt Lara. You know, Canelo has a lot of power. All right, so he has to stay distant from him. Okay. In my opinion, I think Lara needs to be a little bit more busy in this fight. Throw a little bit more than you would normally do. I seen in the Paul Williams fight, he didn't throw a high volume of punches compared to Paul Williams, but he threw a lot of punches because Paul Williams left himself so open. Okay, Lara is going to be the one that has to impress the judges here. Okay, he has to impress him. He can't fight exactly how he fought Trout. He has to throw more punches than he did in the Trout fight, because the judges are going to look to give Canelo the win, because Canelo is the star here. Okay, Canelo has another fight due at the end of the year, another pay-per-view fight due at the end of the year. Okay, so you gotta understand, Lara has to do the most to win this fight. All right, this is the way I see a fight going. I think Lara's gonna win the fight by decision. Okay, I think his movement is just too much for Canelo. Another thing is too, when Canelo gets inside, and if Lara lands and he's in his range, and when he's in Canelo's range, he pushes off, okay? Or he jumps up, he jumps back and does that thing where he throws his hands in the air and circles around. By the time Canelo reacts by throwing a punch, Lara is not going to be there. He's going to be very frustrated because Lara is going to keep moving. And then when he is close enough to get a shot at him, Lara's going to push off. He's going to push Canelo off whenever Canelo is in range to land a short power punch, okay? It's not going to work. I think Canelo's going to get his shots here and there. I think Canelo has a better chance. His best chance is to try to land that left hook or that straight right. Try to drop Lara if he's able to get in range to do that. But other than that, I think Lara, for the most part, is going to look very similar to the Austin Trout fight. Okay, Lara is going to use his movement and stay on the outside. Canelo is going to stalk him, but it's not going to be enough. And if Canelo leaps in, Lara's just going to circle around him and move right out of there. It's going to be, as far as what I feel, Lara's going to win the fight, but he has to do it. He has to impress the judges, because I felt Trout won a lot of the rounds that the judges gave to Canelo. Okay, so that's the way I see the fight going. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and leave the comments. Let me know what you think on the fight. Peace.